Well, hello, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. I'm Menasa, a degen and professional multiverse wizard specializing world building and Waifusmith. Now, by my show there is Grammary, a succubus is always open to game or acolytes. But the milking session is for after the stream because right now it's time for some studying. And today we'll be continuing reading the book The Prince by Niccolò Machiavelli because I want to study politics for my writing, and what better way to study that than just picking up a book and reading. And right now, on this time, we'll be actually starting the book proper because first stream was just a test and it was just a we're just reading the introduction of the book actually. Only now we'll actually start reading proper the first chapter. Let me see. Plato's Republic stream when? Yeah, I actually started making a list of books to read, and I want something more about philosophy one day. I think Plato's Republic should be something about like that. I'm not exactly sure what it is about. I'm not very much of a literature person myself. I've only read like novels for my own pleasure, so it is honestly my first time delving into actual academic books, you could say. Yeah, what would this book fall into? Teaching books, learning books? Sometimes words fail me. But what's exactly? Let me actually look for synopsis of Plato's Republic. I've seen this book mentioned a few times already, so what actually is it about? Is it Plato Republic? Is a Socratic dialogue authored by Plato around 377 BC concerning justice, the order and character of just city-state and the just man. It is Plato's best-known work and one of the most influential works of philosophy and political theory, both intellectually and historically. That actually could fit. Yes, after reading this book, I'm wanna look into something more philosophical, so that could actually be a fit. My big complaint about Machiavelli that a lot of his advice doesn't work in an iterative settings where you may meet the consequences of your actions. Well, it is I think it's just a starting manual, you could say, about how to be a prince. You can also look into the February's papers. Okay, another thing for me to add, Federalist papers. Oh. Not sure how long it's actually gonna take me to get into these other books because we just got into the introduction last time. 3 hours. That's not a lot of time. So we'll see how it goes. But thank you for the suggestion, Kuramaru. Glad to have you here. Now, what else do I have to say? I have a lot of wonder this time. Trying to keep a lower tone and to preserve my throat. That's also another thing that I need to look into. Preserving my throat because this reading last stream was kind of slightly straining on my throat. I have to look. Oh yes, I need to make a note of it actually. Look at that. I have some post-its over here. I need to make another look into throat exercises. Because I'm not a person who talks a lot. Oh I assume my throat is not the throat goat. Look into. And as I stream more, I'm worried about losing my voice or having trouble speaking honestly. Okay, right now let's actually just start. Is this the actual first paragraph? Oh yes, dedicatory letter. Okay, of principalities. How many are the kinds of principalities and in what modes they are acquired? All status. There is a lot of can you see my mouse? Yes, you can see my mouse, okay. There's a lot of little notes over here. Doesn't seem like there's actually important. Stato means both status and state, as today, but the meanings are more closely connected. Stato is the status of a person or group while dominating someone else, although NM sometimes speaks of this state. He always means someone's state and does not refer to impersonal state. Yeah, it feels like these are just what do you call it? Flavor? Not really important for the understanding of the readings. Okay, let's actually start. All states, all dominions that have held and do hold empire over man have been and are either republics or principalities. The principalities are either hereditary, in which the bloodline of their lord has been the prince for a long time, or they are new. The new ones are either altogether new, as was Milan to Francesco Sforza, or they are like members added to the hereditary state of the prince who acquires them, as is the kingdom of Naples, the king of Spain. I forgot to actually look into the actual sound levels of the music, and the ring could be slightly altered, because it's gonna be looping the song a little bit. I'm gonna change the songs in an hour, so I should have prepared a little bit better. Actually listen to the recording, but I think it might be fine. We'll see. Okay, let's read this again so that I can. Oh, it always does that. But actually, when I'm reading out loud, it's actually harder to get the meaning of what I'm reading. So sometimes I need to do some like 2 or 3 readings before that actually enters my mind. Otherwise, I'm just speaking what I'm seeing and nothing's actually entering in my mind. All states and dominions that have held and do hold empire of men have been either republics or principalities. Principalities are hereditary, in which the bloodline of their lord has been their prince for a long time, or they are new. The new ones are either altogether new, as was Milan to Francesco Sforza, or they are like members added to the hereditary state of the prince who acquires it. Okay, nothing actually important. Dominions so acquired are either accustomed to living under a prince or used to being free, and they are acquired either with the arms of others or with one's own, either by fortune or by virtue. Virtue is consistently rendered virtue. Okay. Yeah, all the little verbs over here, they don't seem important. Dominions are either used to living under the prince or used to being free, and they acquired either with arms of one's own, others own ones either by fortune or virtue. No, not exactly much to go on this passage. Of hereditary principalities, I shall leave out reasoning on republics, because I have reasoned on them at length another time. Discourses on Levy. Oh, okay, so Discourses on Levy is about republics. I see. Did I actually add this one to the book, to the list? Maybe I should. But another time, honestly. What's its name? What's it called? Discourses on Levy. Machiavelli talks about republics. Okay. Debate how these another time. I shall address myself only to the principality, and shall proceed by weaving together the threads mentioned above, and I shall debate how these principalities may be governed or maintained. I say, then, that in hereditary states accustomed to the bloodline of their prince, the difficulties in maintaining them are much less than in new states, because it's enough only not to depart from the order of his ancestors, and then to temporize in the face of accidents. Temporize in the face of accidents. What a dense phrasing, I'd say. Temporize in the face of accidents. I guess it must mean it obviously must mean to adapt in case of new things. But Jesus, this phrasing. It's not an old book. It's like 1998 and still has some. Well, I guess it's 20 years ago. Is it really 98? Let me actually take a look. 33. 98. Okay, yes, it is 20 years old and it's already feeling some differences in the way of speaking and writing. In this way, if such a prince is of ordinary industry, he always... Industry means diligence combined with skill or adroitness, which is not necessarily visible. Okay. He always maintain himself in his state unless there is an extraordinary and excessive force which deprives him of it. And should he be deprived of it, if any mishap, whatever befalls the occupier, he reacquires it. And should he be deprived of it, if any mishap, whatever befalls the occupier, he reacquires. Okay, so hereditary states. There's basically two types. The one that he inherits normally without much difficulty, unless there is unless he tries to do something different from what his ancestors did, or if he fails to adapt to new events or something like this. And if there is an excessive force which deprives him of his own state, if any mishap, if any trouble, if any incidents happens to the person who has occupied his state, he should be able to reacquire. Himself in the state unless there is an extraordinary support. Okay, yes, very much. We have in Italy, for example, the Duke of Ferrara, who, for no other cause than his line was ancient in that dominion, did not succumb to the attacks of the Venetians in 84, nor to those of Pope Julius in 98, 40 tenths is what they are using, like not 90 tenths or 2010s, it's like a 1400s, I guess. Kinda curious that they use, or rather the translator used it like a translated in this way, where the natural prince has less cause and less necessity to offend, hence it is fitting that he be more loved, and if extraordinary vices do not make him hated, it is reasonable that he will naturally have the good will of his own. In the antiquity and continuity of the dominion, the memories and causes of innovations are eliminated, for one change always leaves a dentation for the building of another. Okay, I did not notice there were these marks over here. I guess it's from the original owner of the book, because it's a scan. What is... I can't understand your writing, mister. I can't understand your writing, please. Do a little bit of more calligraphy. Is there more notes? Let me just take a quick look at it. No, not a lot. For some reason, yeah, just a few lines, I guess. Nothing very important. Now we can deal with it. As this is an old book, it is not it is not exactly easy to find a good copy of it. It has to be scanned. Okay, it had to be scanned after a physical copy of someone who owned it. And unfortunately, he's a book. The person who owned it is a book writer, book doodler. Now, what is this passage about? Of a higher not in his cause. For no other cause than that his line was ancient in that dominion, did not succumb to the attacks of the Venetians. Well, that's an assumption he's making. He's assuming that the Duke of Ferrara only did not fall to the Venetians because of his lineage was ancient in that area, in that place, in that dominion, in his area of government. That is kind of an assumption to make. A wild assumption, but I guess in that time they were not very used to being more data oriented, I guess. Assumptions is all they had, really. For the natural prince has less and less cause and less necessity to offend. Okay. Offender is not merely to slight, but to harm so as to cause offense. Well, just a stronger. It means an offense in a stronger way to offend and actually do physical harm. Okay. Previous phrasing. Hence it is fitting that he be more long. Ah yes, the natural prince. Yes, the natural prince has less reason or need to actually cause harm to people and put them down. So it's more fitting that he is more loved by the population. And if the ordinary vices do not make him hated, it is reasonable that he will naturally have the goodwill of his own. Okay? As in, if he is not evil, no. What do you even call a person of extraordinary vice? Person who performs extraordinary vice. What do you even call them? A degenerate? I don't I don't like saying degenerate because I'm a degenerate. So, but it is only a traditional way of being a terrible person. Extraordinary vices do not make him hated. Yes, if he's actually, if he's not a horrible person, it is reasonable that he will naturally have the goodwill of his own. We have the goodwill of his population. In the antiquity and continuity of the dominion, the memories and causes of innovations are eliminated, for one change always leaves a dentation for the building of another. Now, this one needs to be... This sentence needs to be translated. This should be studied. A dentation is a tilted wall left on the side of a building, so that another building may be attached to it. Machiavelli's metaphor compares the hereditary or natural principality to a row of houses continually added to but never finished, and as if it were not begun from the beginning. As it were not begun from the beginning. Well, another phrasings upon phrasings of weird sentences. It is the problem of not being a native English speaker that a lot of expressions go over my head. Let's read this one again. In the antiquity and continuity of the dominion, the memories and causes of innovations are eliminated, for one change always leaves a dentation for the building of another. I do not understand this part. In the antiquity and continuity of the dominion is like government, state, or your territory that the prince controls. The memory and causes of innovations are eliminated. In the antiquity and continuity of the dominion, I guess it's saying something that over time people forget why someone tried to create an innovation, someone made change. The antiquity and continuity of the dominion, yes, in the past and in the present, the memories and causes of innovations, the...
Good boy.
Oh. Thank you for the redeem, Valerie. Oh yes, I need to add a good girl redeem even. That one, yes, but I imagine she's saying good girl. Thank you for joining us, Valerie. It's nerding time. And since you have actually appeared for class, you are a good girl. So let me actually write us in a post-it. I can be a good boy for her. Well, are you gonna now start wearing strap-ons or something like that? Good girl redeem. I need to remember to add this one. Start. Start. Yeah. Start. Quote. Wink. Wink. Nudge. Nudge. Or quote unquote start. Where was I? The antiquity and continuity of the dominion, the memories and causes of innovations are eliminated. I think it means that, yeah, I think it's just what we were saying, that over time people forget the causes of changes that the prince may try to implement For one change, all, but the problem is how does relate that relates to the second sentence. For one changes always leaves a dentation, always leaves a room, always leaves a hook for the building of another. That's I'm not exactly sure how these two sentences relate to each other. Confused. Oh no, it's sus. It's not. Oh, the emote's called sus, but there's a question mark on it. I thought I was being confused, but maybe a smug face would be more exemplary of a sus emote, huh? Now, I think we should just continue on of mixed principalities, but the difficulties reside in the new principality. First, if it is not altogether new, or like an added member, so that taken as a whole it can be called almost mixed, its instability arises in the first place from natural difficulty that exists in all new principalities. That is a long one, okay. Just before I forget, let me do a quick reread of mixed principalities. The difficulties rise in the new principality, that's pretty much obvious. The new one is always change is always hard to deal with. First, if it is not together new, but like an added member, so that taken as a whole it can be called almost mixed, its instabilities arise in the first place from a natural difficulty that exists in all new principalities. This is that men willingly change their lords in the belief that they will fare better. This belief makes them take up arms against them, in which they are deceived because they see later by experience that they have done worse. Yeah, basically the population wishes to change lords because the grass is greener on the other side. The grass is always greener on the other side. That follows from another natural and ordinary necessity which requires that one must always offend those over whom he becomes a new prince, both with men-at-arms and with infinite other injuries that the new acquisition brings in its wake. For you have as enemies all those whom you have offended in seizing that principality, and you cannot keep as friends those who have put you there, because you cannot satisfy them in the mode they had presumed, and because you cannot use strong medicines against them, since you are obligated to them. For even though one may have the strongest of armies, he always needs the support of the inhabitants of a province, or in order to enter it. To these causes, Louis, I guess it's Louis in the English pronunciation, Louis XIII of France quickly occupied Milan and quickly lost it, and Ludovico's own forces were enough to take it from him the first time. For those people which had opened the gates to him, finding themselves deceived in their opinion in that future good they had presumed for themselves, were unable to tolerate the vexations of the new prince. Okay, that is a lot over here. That's a big ass paragraph over here that we have to decipher. Yes, decipher. That's the exact words I was looking for. Decipher. I keep going for translate, but not exactly. Decipher is a better adjective, I guess. What I meant. They have done worse. That follows from another law that requires that one must always offend those over whom he becomes a new prince. Okay. That follows from another natural and ordinary necessity, which requires that one must always offend those over whom he becomes a new prince, both with men-at-arms and with infinite other interests that the new acquisition brings into it. Okay, yes. Let me actually reread this part, because that follows means that it's relating to the previous sentence. Yes, the men willingly change their lords in the belief that they will fare better, because the grass is always greener on the other side. In which they are deceived, the men are deceived because they see later by experience that they have done worse. Wait, what does this paragraph means? This is that men willingly change their laws in belief that they will fare better. This belief makes them take up arms against him, in which they are deceived because they see later by experience that they have done worse. they see later by experience that they have done worse. Does this mean that that the men who revolt against their lord will later on look back and see that they did worse than their lord? Something like that? Or maybe the people that revolt who get a new lord and then they look back and see that that was not actually a good idea and things did not get better and things may have only got worse. That is a difficult phrase to decipher. But then, I guess we'll just move on. That follows from another natural and ordinary necessity, which requires that one must always offend those over whom he becomes a new prince. By that I mean, if you're going to conquer someone, you offend them, you harm them. Yes, offend is being used in this way as a way of saying harm, and create animosity, create antipathy, become an enemy. You make a lot of enemies by conquering, by becoming the new prince of a new people, both with men and arms, because you use an army to conquer them, and you use an army to physically conquer them, and also infinite other injuries. By that, infinite other injuries to their pride that the new acquisition brings its way. Yes, so not only do you offend them by conquering them, you harm them physically because of your army, and you create a lot of other injuries to their pride. So you have as enemies all those whom you have offended in sins in the principality. Yes, so the new people who you have just conquered are now all of your new enemies, if they weren't already. And you cannot keep as friends those who have put you there, because you cannot satisfy them in the mode they had presumed, and because you cannot use strong medicines against them since you're obligated to them. Okay, so the new people of the territory you conquer, they're now all of your enemies because they hate you, because you conquered them. And you cannot, and your friends, the friends, those who have put you there, you cannot exactly trust them, because you're obligated to them. No. Is it because you are trusted? Well, Machiavelli has a very cynical view, because the people who have brought you to power, your friends, your allies, the people who have forcefully used armies against your enemies, they still have power after your victory. Your allies, they still have power. They still have military power if they installed you as a new leader. And they can turn that power now to you, and since you are obligated to them, because you owe to them, you're now more vulnerable to your friends. But yes, Machiavelli has an extremely cynical view of friendship, I guess. But it does make sense, because I mean, what is losing a friend if you get to keep your territory for yourself? What is a friend when you betray your friend? You can double the amount of riches you have, or something of that kind, you know. When greed and power are in the way, no friendship can last. But I guess it's in this sort of meaning that he's no, I think he's talking about something related to that. I don't exactly understand the exact meaning of this phrasing, but I think it's something of this kind. Not keep as friends, those, yeah, you cannot keep as friends, you cannot maintain friendships with those who have put you into power, because you cannot satisfy them the most they have presumed, and because you cannot use strong medicines against them. Okay, is this, you cannot satisfy them in the mode they had presumed, is something that's puzzled me. Maybe you cannot satisfy because you may not be able to satisfy their demands after you're in power, because they're like a constant drain, a constant liability, or something like this. I'm not exactly sure what this passage means. And because you cannot use strong medicines against them since you're obligated. Yes, strong medicines strong medicines is a curious way to say you cannot get rid of your problems because you're obligated, because you owe to them. You cannot. It's a funny way. It's a strong medicine, as if they are like a disease that must be purged. That is a funny way to phrase it. For even though one may have the strongest of armies, he always needs the support of the inhabitants of a province in order to enter it. Yes, guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare is always even though it wasn't really that advanced, you could say, or even well known in olden times, it was still very much concerned that if the people hate you and revolt, even if you just conquer them, you can even if you destroy their army, their kings, their leaders, if the people hate you, you're gonna have a bad time because of guerrilla warfare. They can wage against you. Not exactly in that way, in the traditional way of guerrilla warfare, because guerrilla warfare is more like a military, it's more a tactical of a hit and run attacks, I guess. I kind of forgot the exact definition of it. It's a very specific way of fighting wars, guerrilla warfare, but it has the same results of grinding down your enemy, which the population can do if they're belligerent, if they are antagonistic towards the occupiers. They can make the life of the occupiers hell, though the occupiers can still use brutality against them. So it's a delicate balance. Yes, Louis 13 of France quickly occupied Milan and quickly lost it, and Ludovico's own forces were enough to take it from him the first time. For those people which had opened the gates to him, finding themselves deceived in their opinion and in that future good they had presumed for themselves, were unable to tolerate the vexations of the new prince. For those people which had opened the gates to him, I guess someone opened the gates to a conquering prince. They betrayed their own people. And let the new prince in. But they regretted it, I guess. The main point of this passage over here is that they regretted calling in the new prince, and they were unable to tolerate him. So they threw him out again. They betrayed their own people. They welcomed in a conqueror, and they regretted it. And like, no, I'm taking you out. It is indeed true that when countries that have rebelled are later acquired for the second time, they are lost with more difficulty, because the Lord, seizing the opportunity offered by rebellion, is less hesitant to secure himself by punishing offender, exposing suspects, and providing for himself in the weakest spots. Yeah. So pretty much, yeah. I think I was right in what I was saying. Countries that have rebelled are later acquired for a second time. They are lost with more difficulty, because now that the Lord is back, he does a house cleaning. He cleans house, the new Lord. He's less hesitant to punish offenders, expose suspects, and providing for himself in the weakest spots. Jesus. So it was that if one Duke Ludovico stirring up a commotion at the borders was enough to make France lose Milan the first time, to make him then lose it the second time, the whole world had to be against him, and his armies eliminated or chased from Italy. This arises from the causes given above, nonetheless, both the first and the second times it was taken from him. That's pretty much what I was saying. The people rebel, lose a lord, or the people do not defend their homes. They welcome in the conquerors, and then they start to regret it, because the conquerors bringing change to their life. So the second time the original lord comes back, the people are a lot more happy to cooperate with the lord and protect their own homes and protect the lord position. Now, what was this part about? I guess it's just a reference to history. To make France lose Milan the first time, to make him then lose the second time, the whole world had to be against him, yes. What was saying? Losing the first time, okay, losing the second time, the whole world needed to take Milan from Ludovico. And his army is eliminated or chased from Italy. As a right from the causes given above. Nonetheless, both the first and the second times it was taken to him. I guess did he lose Milan? Duke Ludovico. Let me just take a quick Wikipedia look. Duke Ludovico Milan. Did he? Ludovico Sforza. Arbiter of Italy. Was a nobleman who ruled as Duke of Milan from 1494 to 1499. To face the threats of King Alphonse II of Naples, Ludovico called the French to Italy. When threatened by the French, he could not face the danger and was saved only thanks to the intervention of his wife, Beatrice. When she died, he went into depression and the state of his court fell from jubilance to despair. He finally succumbed to Queen Frances Louis XIII, imprisoning him in France where he died. Okay, not very enlightening though. Not very enlightening, just a small detour. Let's move on. The universal causes of the first have been discussed. It remains now to say what were the causes of the second, and to see what remedies there were to him, which someone in his situations could use so as to maintain himself better in his acquisition than France did. Now I say, the such status which, when acquired, are added to an ancient state of him. Oh, sorry, I could not hold. You're not. Sorry, not sorry. I could not hold back this yawn. How many yawns do I have? 105 yawns. That's a lot of yawns. Okay, now where was I? Now I say that such status which, when acquired, are added to ancient state of him who acquires them, are either of the same province and same language or not. Okay, what a what a confused phrasing, Jesus Christ. Are you even translating into English? What is this language? This is not English even. When they may be held with great ease, especially if they are not used to living free, and to possess them securely. It is enough to have eliminated the line of the prince whose dominions they were. For when their old conditions are maintained for them in other things, and there is no disparity of customs, men live quietly, as it may seem that Burgundy, Brittany, Gascony, and Normandy, which have been with France for so long a time, have done. And although there may be some disparity of languages, nonetheless, the customs are similar, and they can easily bear with one another. And whoever acquires them, if he wants to hold them, must have two concerns. One, that the bloodline of their ancient prince be eliminated. The other, not to alter either the laws or the taxes, so that in a very short time it becomes one whole body with the ancient principality. Okay, the causes. This is a long and slightly confusing character. The universal causes of the first have been discussed. It remains now to say were the causes of the second, and to see what remedies there were to him. Okay, I guess he's talking about the two times that Ludovico lost. Duke Ludovico lost Milan. There were two times he did. So the first time was basically because he invited the enemy, but then he lost it again, which is what the following paragraph wants to deal with, which someone in his situation could use so as to maintain himself better in his acquisition than France did. Remains now to say what were the causes of the second time Ludovico lost Milan, and to see what solutions there were to him, which someone in his situation could have used to keep better control of his place of rule, of his territory, than France. Now I say that such status which, when acquired, are added to an ancient state of him who acquires them, are either of the same province and same language or not. Oh Jesus! Oh fuck! I guess it's something about about conquering. So you either conquer someone who are a similar province with the same language, or you don't. When they are of the same quote unquote region of a place with a similar culture, I would say, maybe. I guess this is what they mean by province. And of similar language, they may be held with great ease, especially if they are not used to living free. Yes, indeed. If you conquer a territory from a tyrant, people may actually be more willing to live under your rule. And also, if you speak their language, or if you're from the same culture as them, yes, that's basically politics 101, I would say, or even something basic. I guess it wouldn't be that obvious in ancient times, but when after playing enough Rome Total War and other political map games like that, political, military, warlike games like that, yeah, this sort of things becomes obvious because they're pretty much mechanics. They're very obvious mechanics. Me understand, indeed. Me also understand because because of video games, basically, because of video games. Now, we'll continue on. When they are and to possess them securely, it is enough to have eliminated the line of the principal's dominions. They were, yeah. This is another classic of medieval novels. Possess them securely is enough to eliminate the line of the princes of dominion. The word. If you conquer a new territory, kill everyone that's related to the royalty that used to be the family of the rulers of the previous territory. If you don't kill the rulers of the previous territory that you conquered, they may come back, because the people always have some hope that the previous rulers, the previous ruler family will come back. So if you conquer a new territory, kill everyone. Video games are good pedagogic tools. Indeed, they actually are. We just need to actually put them into better use. There's like a middle point between say gacha games and the boring and those boring pedagogical games, educational games. There's a middle point in between them that we should use. There's a middle point between the gacha and the Skinner boxes, the hedonistic extremist games, and the educational edutainment games. By the way, man, are you highlighting sections that catch your fancies? Would be good for putting it to OneNote or Obsidian after. You know what? I should actually make notes while I write. I should actually make notes. Now, where should I put these notes? Where should I put these notes? I could just put in my game list. I could just start over here. Consistency. Okay, let me... And now this one is bad. I'm gonna need to make another Google Document file. I don't like to... I was thinking about if it was a good idea to make more these files. Now, where is my... Because having too much files, having too much stuff, too many notes everywhere, it becomes you kinda end up forgetting about them. Reading, studying, stream notes. I like using Google Docs because I don't know exactly use my. I don't exactly use my cell phone a lot. I only use my computer and my laptop, and I already use. And I already use Google Documents and things like that for storing my stories and things like that, so I prefer that over notes. Wait, what? I thought I had it. Reading, studying, stream notes. Okay. Highlighting them for after the stream. Not sure if okay, that actually works. But I'll have to go back. I'll have to go back after the stream and do this and copy and paste them. I'm kind of lazy. I'll do them. I should do them on stream, and then copy and paste them right on stream. I'm not. It is a study stream rather than just a reading stream. So going up on tangents, it's a good thing. It's not a. How do I say it? It's not really a bad thing. Me too. I use Google Docs for everything. Yeah. I use more of Google Sheets actually. Google Doc. I just use Google Drive for storing files and transferring between them. Because my writing files are kind of, well, my documents are big, but they're still like just a few megabytes. So Google Drive does everything that I need. We have like 8 minutes until the next ad break, and I have a box of chocolates over here. Box of chocolates is always a mystery. You never know what you're gonna get. But I am craving for a little chocolate, so I'll eat a few during the break. I'm actually eager to have a little break. So can I save this? Save alterations. I'm just testing these. Okay. Oh, and you did this again. Just testing the save notes, save alterations of this PDF. What were we on? 34 or something? There you go, you're here. Is it Nougat? No, it's actually Nestle. Unfortunately, Nestle is over here. Nestle over here is way too entrenched for you to boycott it. So I got a box of a varied chocolates from Nestle. My favorite is actually Lacta. Is Lacta somewhere on the outside? What's Lacta? Oh, Lacta is actually a Brazilian company. Okay, you might not have Lacta out there, but yes, Lacta is the best alternative to Nestle. But sometimes you can't really avoid Nestle files. You can't avoid Nestle files. You can't avoid buying Nestle. Oops, not what I want to do. But it has like say 10 Lego chocolates, 10 Lego different chocolates. Kind of alright. Used to be better lately. Yeah, I end up buying Nestle too all the time. Yeah. They also have a lot of small Lego companies, so even if you avoid the Nestle brand, you can't really avoid the smaller companies that they buy. How do you call it? Sorted? No, assorted chocolates? How do you call it? Save some for grammar too. Shika, we can share. You know, I take a bite. No, I put it a half of it on my mouth, and we share through a kiss. You know, romantic like that. She likes that sort of stuff. For the husbandos, take note of the things she like. Assorted chocolate box. Yeah, it's an assorted chocolate box, I guess. Let me take a chocolate box. Because I know there's some weirdness between different box of chocolates. I know there's some differences between what we call over here in Brazil and how it's talked about in English or something like that. Like I think the things we call bonbons are not do not have the same meaning as bonbons in English or something like that. Well, that's fine. Enough of that. And one for your staff. And one on your staff. Wait, what do you mean by that actually? On one on your staff? Oh, okay. Yeah, but it has to be melted chocolate. Not otherwise unless you're doing, what was the thing where you eat out of someone's body? Eat food out of body. Eat food on body. Yeah, what's called those bars where you eat food out of a woman's body? What's it called, that thing? There must be one of those names. Yes, with unless I have melted chocolate, I have to do that with the little chocolate tablets that I have. Oh. Asian sushi body of woman. Eat Noi Taimori? Noi Taimori. Serve foods on female body. Yes, I have to do that. You should do a buffet scene in Rupegia where all the girls are smorgasbord. Well, I think... Did I do something like that already? I'm actually surprised I did not think of that, actually. Maybe I did. My characters in Rupegia specifically, they go to a lot of brothels. So it is something you'd see on a brothel visit they do. And even the waifus participate in the brothels. There's just no male presence in the brothels, so it's just the main character, the male, and then all of his waifus and in a brothel, all having fun, little party fun times, you know. But yes, I should make something like that. I think I may have done. No, it's been so long. No, it's been. If I don't exactly remember, then it's been too long. If I don't remember having a scene like that, it's been too long, and I need to do it. But yes, I'll put it in my notes when I return to writing Rupegia. Now, is there anything else? Notes over here. I need to remember myself. Oh yes, let me actually add this to my favorite bar, but I don't forget it. There we go. Now, oh yes, 1 minute. I guess continuing right now, it's not gonna be very productive since there's like 1 minute until ads begin. So just kill a little bit of time, I guess. I have like other streams open on the second half of my window of my monitor, because I have two monitors, so I have one for monitoring. And since this PDF file is way too thin, I have a lot of free real estate that I can use. Right now I'm watching Kaigai Nikki. I see Valerie there. Unfortunately, I can't actually unmute Kaigai to talk to him, but I guess I can make a little talk while on the break time. And I also have Ruad on the other, but he's doing ASMR, so unfortunately I can't actually listen to him. But it's a good distraction when the text becomes a bit too thick and I need to think about something. Kaigai Nick is really cool indeed. The game's he's playing Wireword, which is pretty cool actually. I'm not that very fond of Nintendo games, honestly. But they do have some cool ones. I feel like people overplay a lot of. Why can't I play Ruan stream? Oh, there you go. His stream was getting blocked or something. I think Mario games, kind of like Zelda's, they're a bit overplayed, honestly. So I don't normally watch Nintendo stream people playing Nintendo games. It's very rare for me. But WarioWare, the game that he's playing, seems pretty cool. Not sure which. Oh, I can just Google it actually. Which game system it is. Seems like it's playing on original hardware. Even that's pretty cool. I don't even have any more original hardware for me. And ads are going to start in a couple of seconds now. Been a while since it's saying ads starting soon, so I'm just waiting for the ads to start before I go into the break screen. The Wario games are some of the most unique Nintendo games, for sure. Yeah, actually. That WarioWare, I think that's the one that inspired Pizza Tower. And Pizza Tower is one pretty crazy game. It actually deserves whatever. Oh, I heard Pizza Tower didn't actually get any awards, but they actually deserved it. It's ugly, but it's in a aesthetica making sense ugly. So I think they deserve that one. Okay, break time. Ads is on. See you guys in 3 minutes. Okay, we're back. Let me take a drink a little bit more water. Yeah, I changed the background music now, just to have something different, because it's gonna be looping the sound for the song for a while. I think this audio level should be alright for the background. If it's too intense, it becomes annoying. Very nice and calming. I'll be listening while working in the background. Thank you. I need to actually check the audio levels, because reading streams, you need to have a more delicate balance even. Like if the music is too intense, it becomes annoying to hear. So it's good to have a background music, but it needs to be a lot muted than normal game audio, I guess. Anyway, let's continue. The chocolate that I ate was actually it had those doce de leite. How do you call it in English, honestly? Is there a translation for this in English? There's no actual name. Dulce de leche. Caramelized milk. Milk candy. Milk jam. Yeah, it's a very popular over here to use it in as the inside of the bonbons, I'd say. And I don't like it. So I eat those first, and I leave the good ones for later. Now, oh, that guy Nicky actually raided Claudette. We finished his stream already. Searching for someone to watch because I want to watch something interesting while on my... Oh! Coyote is playing a Turok 3. Let's actually keep this one open. See how he... Coyote Knight. See how it looks. I never actually played any Turok, so we'll see how... Wanna see how it plays on my side screen. Anyway, let's continue on with the reading. For when they're old... Yes, we are saying, last thing we made a note of. To possess them securely, it is enough to have eliminated the line of the prince whose dominions they were. By that he means, when you conquer a new territory, eliminate the family, the previous ruler family. Eliminate the kings, eliminate the royal family, or whatever other family that was in charge of that territory. So there's no hope for the population, for the old rulers to come back. For when their old conditions are maintained for them in other things and there is no disparity of customs, men live quietly. Yes, if you do that, also maintain their old conditions. By that he means don't change things up. No, don't bring new customs, and the new people you've conquered will live quietly. Because what's the difference from the only difference really for the people, for the population, is that the rulers don't change things. That's the only thing. So if the new rulers start to change things up, the population is gonna look back and say, yeah, I want you back. I'm gonna help you come back into power. As it may be seen that in Burgundy, Brittany, Gascony and Normandy, which have been with France for so long a time, have done. And although there may be some disparity of language, nonetheless the customs are similar and can easily pair with one another. Yes, even if the customs are different, as long as there is some similarity within them, people will be able to find a way to bear the change, to bear the problem. And whoever acquires them, if he wants to hold them, must have two concerns. One, that the bloodline of their ancient prince be eliminated. The other, not to alter either their laws or their taxes, so that in a very short time it becomes one whole body with their ancient principality. Okay, basically the same thing that I've said, but in a condensed form. and to whoever it is that acquires a new territory, if he wants to keep this territory, he needs to think about two things: eliminate the old rulers, and don't alter any laws or taxes, so that the people integrate in a short time. But when one acquires states in a province disparate in language, customs, and orders, here are the difficulties, and here one needs to have great fortune and great industry to hold them. Yeah. If you grab a territory and then there's nothing help, there's none of the buff and only debuffs. Now that's gonna be the challenge. And one of the greatest and quickest remedies will be for whoever acquires it to go there to live in person. The greatest and quickest solutions to the problem of acquiring a territory who has a lot of disparity with your usual territory. The solution is to the conqueror to go there and live in person. I guess there's a lot more. You're in a lot more control of the situation where you're over there, even though it's more dangerous to live in a territory that hates you. This would make that possession more secure and more lasting, as the Turk has done in Greece, despite all the other orders observed by him so as to hold that state. If he had not gone there to live, it would not have been possible for him to hold them. For if you stay there, these orders may be seen as they arise, and you can soon remedy them. Yeah, the distance, ruling from a distance is very hard because it takes a while for news to arrive, and when they arrive, it may already be too late. Like say your chosen ruler. Your chosen ruler has been destroyed and has been killed, has been deposed. And now the people have revolted and they're rebuilding their armies, rebuilding their structures, and entrenching themselves. Imagine you have trouble capturing a place. Imagine you have sieges, captures, conquering. That takes time. That takes a lot of effort. That's very complicated, especially in certain parts where the terrain is favorable. So imagine you have a trouble conquering a fortress. And then when you leave, the fortress just revolts. The people just revolt and kick your men out. And now you have to conquer it again. That'll be, I think that'll be kind of frustrating. That'll be slightly frustrating. Let's actually make a note of this then. One of the greatest forever requires you to go there and live in person. Let's make a highlight of this one. And that is, this one is important. Now, where was I? Where did I stop? If you stay there, disorders is okay. If you are not there, disorders become understood when they are great and there is no longer a remedy. Yeah, when there's no longer a solution to it, when they're too big to actually hold back. Besides this, the province is not despoiled by your officials. What's actually despoiled? It's a word that I don't exactly remember the translation of it. The meaning of it. Despoiled, to strip of belongings, possessions, or values. Pillage. Oh damn. Besides this, the province is not pillaged by your officials. Yes. Another concern that the people you choose to rule may actually try to get themselves rich, since you're too far to actually notice things going bad until it's too late. And if you put them in power, they basically have free reign to do whatever they want. And since people are greedy, most likely one of your officials, one of your officers, one of your underlings chose to rule will eventually try to scoop through window a little bit of the money of taxes and things like that for themselves. That is a tale as old as time. The subjects are satisfied with ready access to the prince, so that they have more cause to love him if they want to be good, and if they want to be otherwise, more cause to fear him. No, another interesting point. If the prince is nearby, yeah, it's more easy for people to actually love the prince if he's nearby. But also, if the people have something against him, which they most likely do, since you just conquer your territory, a lot of people are your enemies, sworn enemies. Being there, being nearby can actually make the fear your gaze more, because you're in control, you have the power, and they are just malcontents. People planning revolt, so they have more to fear of your gaze if they grab attention. So they need to keep low, which works in your favor, because the longer that they keep low, the more that the population will calm down and accept their fate of their new conqueror. Whatever outsider might want to attack that state has more hesitation in doing so. Hence, when one lives in it, one can lose it with the greatest difficulty. Yes, what I was saying. Whatever outsider might want to attack that state has more hesitation in doing so, because you're there. If there's people planning to revolt, because you're there, because you're nearby, they fear your gaze. They may hesitate more. Hence, when one lives in it, one can lose it with the greatest difficulty. The other, better remedy is to send colonies that are, as it were, betters of that state to one or two places, because it is necessary either to do this or to hold them with many men-at-arms and infantry. One does not spend much on colonies, and without expense of one's own, or with little, one may send them and hold them. And one offends only those from whom one takes fields and houses in order to give them to new inhabitants, or a very small part of that state, and those whom he offends, since they remain dispersed and poor, can never harm him, while all others remain on the one hand unhurt. Oh, actually, I think I need to watch my tone more. I'm speaking a bit too loudly. I wanna speak a bit more gently. And for this, they should be quiet. On the other, they are afraid to err from fear that what happened to the despoiled might happen to them. I conclude that such colonies are not costly, are more faithful, and less offensive, and those who are offended can do no harm, since they are poor and dispersed, as was said. For those has to be noted that men should either be caressed or eliminated, because they avenge themselves for slight offenses. They cannot do so for grave ones, though the offense one does to a man should be such that one does not fear revenge for it. But when one holds a state with men-at-arms in place of colonies, one spends more, since one has to consume all the income of the state. So the acquisition turns to loss, and one offends much more, because one harms the whole state as one's army moves around for lodgings. Everyone feels their hardship, and each become one's enemy, and these are enemies that can harm one, since they remain, though defeated, in their home. From every side, therefore, keeping guard in this way is as useless as keeping guard by means of colonies is useful. Okay, this paragraph is Machiavelli is encouraging something that's called a genocide. I think this is called a genocide, really, or is it a culture? Displacement, forceful displacement. Let me actually look. Yes, forced displacement is an involuntary or coerced movement of a person or people away from their home or home region. The UNHCR, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, defines forced displacement as follows: displaced as a result of persecution, conflict, generalized violence, or human rights violations. A forcibly displaced person may also be referred to as forced migrant or displaced person. Displaced within a home, blah blah blah. Let me see. No, it's not called genocide. Forced displacement has been the subject of several trials in local and international courts for an offense to classify as a war crime The civilian victim must be a protected person on the international humanitarian law, originally referring only categories of individuals explicitly protected under one of the 4 Geneva Conventions of 1949. Protected person now refers to any category of individuals entitled to protection under specific law of war treaties.
Suck.
Thank you for the suck, Nue. Hello, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the class. We are studying history. No, not history. We're studying politics and also war crimes. Why is it not showing on the chat? It normally says when you it normally says on the chat. It normally says, yeah, it is you. It normally says on the chat after a while that you were deeming it, but it didn't appear this time, so I was confused. Maybe someone was trying to steal your greeting. Now let's see. We are looking into war crimes right now. Protected person. Okay, what is a protected person? I guess anyone that's a civilian would be a protected person under the Geneva Convention. Yes, in Article 49, the 4th Geneva Convention adopted 12 on August 49 specifically forbids forced displacement. So Machiavelli is encouraging a war crime. No sucks happen. What? Did you not hear the suck? Did you not hear the suck or what? I heard it, so maybe there's something on my sound alerts extension? Yes. It should be like monitor and output. So I can hear it and I can output it. But did you not hear the suck? Anyway, or what happened actually? There may be something odd going on because I separated my sound alerts extension from the rest of my desktop audio sound, so I can control it. So I can control the individual sound of the sound alerts extension. But anyway, I guess we can continue. We can look at that later. But yes, though you may have asked for a suck, there will be no exact sucks until the class is over. Anyway, no sucks until the class is over. That is the rules. Now let's go back to this character. The other better remedy is to send colonies. I think he meant by that colonizers. Colonizers, they are, as it were, feathers of that state. Yes, it's like sending people from your state to colonize the land that's already occupied. It's kind of like making ties, so that the people naturally become more positive or welcoming of you, the conqueror. That's a thing that has happened in a lot of history, and if you want a more modern example, that's what happened with Russia and Crimea. And yeah, you can see how bad things are, how bad things are getting, how bad the things that Machiavelli is suggesting are. Feathers of the state to 1 or 2 places because it's necessary either to do this or to hold them with many men at arms or infantry. So yes, either you send colonizers or you sending the soldiers. Either way, you need people there to actually hold the territory. People who are more inclining to help, more welcoming of you. One does not spend much time on colonies, and without the expense of one's own, or with little, one may send them and hold them. One does not spend much on colonies. okay. You don't need to spend a lot on colonies and colonizers. I'm not exactly sure if it actually is meaning colonizers or just colonies or anything related to colonization. And without expenses of one's own or with little, one may send them and hold them. Yeah, and without expense, without any cost, or with very little cost, you can send a lot of people there. Because you're not sending a trained soldier, you're just telling someone to go there and colonize a place. So at most you need to help them move there. Really, not allow, you know, and give them a bit of incentive to go invade that land. So it is a lot cheaper than sending an army, since you don't even need to. Yes, you also don't need to even maintain them. You just tell the person to go there, give them a little bit of money so they can buy their own supplies, and they'll try to do their own thing. They'll do their thing. And one offense only those from whom one takes fields and houses in order to give them to new inhabitants. Yes, offense. Like again, he means in this as a harm, and hurt pride, and make enemy, and create antipathy, and create animosity. It's a very general catch-all term. The way he's using offend on this text. So if you send colonizers, you only create harm to those who you take from. You send a colonizer there, and he steals and he squats into a house, into a new farm, and the only people that actually hate you are the ones that are losing their homes, like that. That's what he means. Not exactly what happens, because even though you do that, you're still creating a lot of animosity towards you, because the friends, the other people who remain, they're gonna see and they're gonna like, yeah, I could be next. It could have been me actually instead of the other. So unless the people are extremely short-sighted, they'll see what you're doing though. So I guess it is a viable strategy. I guess it's not that bad. I guess it is more effective than sending soldiers over there and forcibly conquering them, forcibly establishing your rule over them, but still, it is a bit more complicated than the text implies, I'd say. And one offend those and houses in order to give them to new inhabitants, and one offends only those from whom one takes fields and houses in order to give them to new inhabitants, who are a very small part of that state. And those whom he offends, since they remain dispersed and poor, can never harm him, while all the others remain on the one hand unheard, and for thus they should be quiet. On the other hand, they are afraid to err from fear that what happened to the spoil might happen to them. Okay, I guess this also makes sense. And for those whom the conquering prince has offended, has hurt, since they remain without homes and poor, they can never really cause harm to the prince, while everyone else that remained that did not lose their territory to the colonizers remain unhurt, and for this they should be quiet. Yeah, no, not really much to add. Just a little brain going stop moment, brain freeze moment, whatever. And on the other hand, these people that remain, they are also afraid to create trouble for the prince, in fear that they may be next. They may lose their homes like the others have lost. I guess it is one of these. Machiavelli talked about. I think it was in the introduction. He talked about cruelty. So yes, you do cruelty to set an example. So the part of colonization, of dispersing or forced displacement of people, will set an example for the people who have remained. That in extreme cases, the prince will do extreme harm to them, but only in extreme cases. Because if you turn cruelty into a day-to-day stuff, you're just creating more further rebels in your territory. No, future rebels in your territory, not further. Future rebels. Now moving on. I conclude that such colonies are not costly, are more faithful and less offensive, and those who are offended can do no harm, since they are poor and dispersed, as I said. Yeah. Sending colonizers is cheap, effective, and creates a more stable territory for you in the future. Unfortunately, it's a fucking war crime. So don't do that. But yeah, to be fair, war crimes didn't exist on that time. Really, it was only, I think, what was saying the Geneva Convention was made? Geneva Convention was 1939, so like after the First War. We're in the 1400s, so yeah, fair that we get no. It's very fair that we get no war crimes to bash Machiavelli, to criticize Machiavelli. Moving on. For those has to be noted that men should either be caressed or eliminated because they avenge themselves for slight offenses, but cannot do so for grave ones. This passage, it's kind of curious, really. For this has to be noted, men should either be caressed or eliminated. Yes, please caress me. Please headpat me. But no. He means that men should either be what's another word for this? Treated kindly. Men should either be treated kindly or eliminated, because they avenge themselves for slight offenses but cannot do so for grave ones. This is kind of a curious phrasing. And it's actually true, because they avenge for slight offenses, so for little things they can afford. Normal men, for little things they can afford to fight back. If a prince started to create animosity, the people feel like they can fight back because it's something small. So it creates small changes, small harms. Small harms is a weird way of saying. Offensive actually fits better, but I'm looking for a better way to phrase it. A more modern phrase, relatable way of phrasing. For small offenses. Thesaurus, can you help me, Thesaurus? Offense. Come on. Violation, trespassing. Breach, crime, infraction, misdeed, misdemeanor, sinister, aggressions, wrongdoing. Yeah, for bad things. For small bad things that the prince does to the people, they feel like they can fight back. But if the prince does something extreme, if the prince starts a genocide, if the prince starts a cleaning house, how are you actually gonna fight back against that? The only way for you to actually fight back and stop that is if you stop the prince. How goes the studying, small boy? Hello, Dorian. Hi, lovely to have you here. We are doing a lot of studying. It's doing well, honestly. Doing well. The last stream we're just reading the introduction, so it was a lot more. There's a lot more text that we had to just pass through that was meaningless. This one is being more dense, honestly. A lot more things should go around, and I'm having fun with my little tangents as I go through each of these passages. Try to decipher them in a more relatable way for my I'm not a zoomer, but my little porn addicted brain. But for my understanding, I keep translating, deciphering things in a way that I understand, and hopefully it does the chat. So yes, it has been going very well, I would say. Thank you for asking, Dorian. Thank you for asking, you little brat, little Dorian. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. You can be nice once in a while and not very bratty. But yes, what I'm trying to explain to myself in this little passage. Oh no, I should actually highlight this part too. Oh, let me highlight it. Yes. Can I select it, please? Let me select it. I'm also copy and pasting it into a file where I'm keeping notes of important passages. And everyone should keep notes because this will gonna test. If you want to get your free night with Grammarly, you need to pass this test. You need to study like I am. Grammarly does accept dumb little boys as the bottom slaves, but if you're actually smart, and you wanna be a proper husband for her, no, if you wanna be a proper husband for him, you're gonna be smart. Otherwise, you're just gonna be a little bottom slave for her to peg as a side time. Not like there's anything wrong with it, but if you want something more. But now back to this passage. Let's try again. I was trying to formulate an explanation for it. Yeah, small things. If a ruler, those small. There's a specific word that I can't exactly find. Small damage, small harm, small bad things. If a ruler does bad things to the population, if they're small enough, the people feel rebellious. The people feel like they can fight back. But if it's something too big, like say a purge, how do you actually fight a prince doing a purge? How do you get a prince to stop? How do you get a king, a ruler, to stop doing a purge of malcontents of enemies? How do you actually get a prince to stop something like that? He's actually gonna do that with force. He's actually gonna do that with extreme force, and he should already know. The prince would already know that there will be a lot of pushback. So the prince is prepared for you fighting back. So if you are a small person, if you're a simple little peasant, the best thing you can do is to just run away and hope you survive. So yes, this makes a lot of sense. Men should either be treated gently or completely eliminated, because they avenge themselves for slight offenses but cannot do so for grave ones. They cannot afford to fight against a prince doing something horrible to them. They can just only run away. So the offense one does to a man should be such that one does not fear revenge for it. Okay, that makes sense. The offense, if you're gonna cause harm to someone, you should be prepared. You should be strong enough harm that you should not fear that person getting revenge on you. But when one holds a state with men at arms, by men at arms he means soldiers, in place of colonies of colonizers or colonization, one spends much more, since one has to consume all the income of that state in guarding it. So yes, holding a territory with soldiers is a lot more expensive, because you need to feed those you need to train, arm, organize, and feed all of the soldiers. While colonizers, you just leave them to fend for themselves. Like, the people are, even if they die, like, why do you care? Even if they do get killed by the locals, you just go back and punish the locals and send more colonizers. Peasants are replaceable. Peasants are the most replaceable resource you have. So the acquisition turns to loss, and one offends much more because one harms the whole state as one's armies move around for lodgings. Everyone feels this hardship, and each becomes one's enemy. And there are enemies that can harm one since they remain, though defeated, in their home. From every side, therefore, keeping guard in this way is as useless as keeping guard by means of colonies is useful. Oh yeah, so sending soldiers, so conquering through soldiers becomes very unprofitable, because you cause a lot more harm, you create a lot more enemies on your territory you conquer. An army moving around a territory back then was a horrible thing, because there's not a lot of room for the army, so they disrupt a lot. They cause a shit ton of disruption to farms, to the landscape. And they also have a tendency to be very rapey to the local population. Not only do they steal a lot from the local population, because they are soldiers, they are armed, they're basically thugs. Like back then, even today, soldiers can act like thugs. So imagine back then, where there's a lot less oversight of what a soldier was doing. And moving an army through a territory you want to conquer creates a lot of animosity between you and the people. You create a lot of enemies, so that's a lot less. So that, yes, indeed, it is a lot less effective than colonizing and displacing the population. But like I said, forceful displacement is a war crime. Don't do that. Everyone feels this hardship, and each becomes one's enemy, and there are enemies that can harm one since they remain though defeated in their home. Yes, indeed, you are making enemies of the population by moving an army into their territory. Instead, you could displace that population by sending your colonizers from every side. Therefore, keeping guard in those ways as useless as keeping guard by means of colonies is useful. This is a confusing statement. I don't think it's worth to try to decipher this one, because it's basically just a summary of what I was already doing. So, whatever, moving on. Wait, should I actually make a note? Highlight something? Actually, I should highlight. When one husband and colonies, one husband. Okay, this one is actually an important part of the code. Jesus, let me select it. Okay, I'm just gonna. When I do the highlight, it doesn't let me select it again. There we go. Make your own notes, make your own highlights to class. This will go on the test. Whoever is in a province that is disparate, as was said, should also make himself head and defender of the neighboring lesser power, and contrive to weaken the powerful in that province, and to take care that through some accident a foreigner as powerful as he does not enter there. Hold up. Let's actually read this one again. Whoever is in a province that is disparate, as was said, should also make himself head and defender of the neighboring lesser powers, and contrive to weaken the powerful in that province, and to take care that through some ancient and contrive to weaken the powerful in a province, and to take care that through some accident a foreigner as powerful as he does not enter there. There's a lot to actually decipher over here. If you're in a province that is in disparate, let's actually look at the actual meaning of this word. Markedly distinct in quality or character, contrarian made of fundamentally different and often incongruous elements. Yes, a province that has a lot of heterogeneity in it. There's a lot of different little factions, a lot of different little cultures, a lot of different little groups of people. If your province is like that, you should make yourself head and defender of the neighboring lesser powers. By using a modern term, you should become a defender of the minorities, and you should also weaken the ones that are more powerful in the province, and to take care that through some accident a foreigner as powerful as he does not enter. Okay, yeah. So, defender of the minorities, weaken the powerful majority, and also do not let another foreigner in your territory. Three important things. This is a tactic that has been used, I think, by the British and other colonizers pretty effectively. Why? Because this creates disunity. You purposely give power to minority groups, so that they feel more. How do I actually explain this? You keep down the people that are powerful. You keep down the groups that have power in a territory, and then you give power in the minorities. What this does is it creates strife between the groups. It creates a lot of mistrust between the minorities and the majority of a region, of a territory, because now the minority has power, they're gonna fear being they're gonna fear punishment if the majority gets into power again, and the majority will not be able to unify the whole territory because the minority is living the good life. They're not gonna want to rebel. So the majority, so you divide and conquer. Yes, that's it. You divide and conquer. You keep a territory disunited, so it's easier for them to. So it's easier for you to rule over them, because it's easier to deal with a lot of small little groups that are discontent than one big unified group. Numbers are key. Numbers are always better. Bigger number always better. So if you can keep the enemy separated, you can divide and conquer and then defeat in detail. By that I mean you divide them individually. If the enemy has one big army, it may actually be impossible for you to defeat it all at once. If the enemy keeps their army separated, you can go one by one defeating them, because numbers win. So if you have the bigger number, you defeat one army, and then you go for the other, then you still have the majority of number, and then you defeat the other, and then defeat the other, and then defeat the other. So yes, very devious, extremely devious I would say, but very effective tactic. Which it's kind of funny that we're talking about colonization, because it's the exact thing that the colonizers did throughout history. British colonizers, Spanish, Portuguese, whatever it is. I think everyone that every sort of colonial power did something like this throughout time. Now there was one last thing. Oh yes, and take care that through some accident a foreigner as powerful as he does not enter there. Yes, if a foreigner enters the ring of fighting, everyone's gonna actually flock to the foreigner. Everyone's actually gonna flock to the foreigner because he's because the people who are under you, the people who are dividing and conquering, they know what's going on. They hate you. Even the minorities are gonna hate you because they know what's gonna go on. But if a new foreigner comes in, it's kind of like the effect that I was already spoken before. The grass is always greener on the other side. So if there's another colonizing power entering the scene, everyone's gonna flock and try to court them. And now you have everyone uniting against you. So that's pretty bad. Now, moving on. And it will always turn out that a foreigner will be brought in by those in the province who are malcontent either because of too much ambition or out of fear, as once the Aetolians were seen to bring Romans into Greece, and in every other province they entered they were brought in by its inhabitants. This is a curious passage, and always turn out that the foreigner will be brought in by those in the province who are malcontent because of word of fear. I don't think I've never thought about this before. I don't think I know enough about history to say anything about this, but this is something I found curious. Like yes, I heard it before. I heard it a few times that people who were conquered asked for help for outsiders, but it was never something that I actually paid much attention to. It's like this feels like it's learning something new to me, and it now slowly making sense. I remember hearing about this, but only now that I'm actually paying attention to this sort of thing. So yes, I'm learning something new right now. As once the Aetolians were seen to bring Romans into Greece, and in every other province they entered, they were brought in by its inhabitants. I should actually look into this, honestly. This is a passage that I should study more. I don't think I've never added something like this to my stories. Like, the conquered asking for help from someone outside. Because my story is a fantasy, like, say, the elves. The elves are proud as a proud race. They'll never ask for help from someone who's not an elf. So if you conquer all elves, they're not exactly gonna have a lot of allies. They're not gonna bend down for someone else and ask for help. So this is a new perspective. But the other races, They're more likely to do that. Also, hello, Banka, congrats. You get the whole night with grammar. You can do anything you want. Remember, she's pretty good with illusions. If you have anything planned to share, if you know anything planned, anything fun you have planned to do with grammar, you can always share with me. I'm always eager to hear that. She's you are one of Grammar's favorites by now, considering how often you come and reading. I'll teach you how to beat up wizards. That is a forbidden topic. No, actually, no. Let's not be insecure. Taking a sip of water. Let's not be insecure. Grammarly and I are bound to each other to life, so it's not like she's gonna use that on me. So I don't really have anything to fear. But beating up other wizards, that should be.
I'll do it. I will beat up all wizards.
All wizards, indeed. All wizards except me, because would you learn how to beat yourself up? Is this something you do learn? Is this something a normal person would learn, to beat yourself up? We are two sides of the same coin, you could say. We complete each other. So there's nothing I need to fear from Grammarly. But conquering conquering
including Mana Song.
You wish. She's just being a little bantering, you know. It's all she's like that. She's a spicy woman. It's all just banter. Don't worry about it. She's like that. She's a spicy woman. You know. She says those things, but it's just to tease. She doesn't have the will for that, because we have a deep bond with each other. We're always connected, if you know what I mean. So would you beat yourself up for a joke? Would you beat yourself up for a joke? I don't think she's. Yes. yes, you'd beat yourself up. Oh my God, Banka. Everything for a joke with you, aren't you? Aren't you the little funny? You're the little funny clown, I'd say. Just a little trolling. The cat burglar just does a little. The cat burglar does just a little trolling. The jester. I mean, people in some places, in some settings, jesters and rogues and things like that. Yeah, they do get a lot of overlap. So you're just doing multi-classing, I would say. Bunkan is just doing a little bit of multi-classing. Now, where were we? Romans, Italians. I actually have 5 minutes until next ad break. Let me take another sip. Ad break means more chocolate to me. I was trying to keep my tone low, but it's actually kinda hard, and I keep forgetting. Because I start to go on tangents, and keeping my tone soft becomes hard. So, oh, I hit my mic, sorry if you heard it. I think I still need to force myself to keep a more gentler tone like this, since this is a more gentle stream, but I need to keep reminding myself to keep lowering my tone, because especially when I'm joking around, my tone just goes out of control. Now, where on the test were you? The other things in such that as soon as a powerful foreigner enters a province, all those in it who are less powerful adhere to him, moved by the envy they have against whoever has held power against them. Yes, that's what I'm saying. When a foreigner colonizing power enters the ring of fighting, enters the ring of war, everyone who are less powerful adhere to him, moved by envy they have against whoever has held power over them. So yes, even if you do a little bit of dividing and conquering, the natives, they are all gonna hate you. They're still gonna hate you, they're still gonna know what you're doing. So if you give them an alternative, If you show them a new patch of grass, they'll always think that the grass is green on the other side. So, with respect to these lesser powers, he has no trouble in gaining them, because altogether they quickly and willingly make one mass with the state that has acquired. Indeed, like I said, you divided and conquered them, but when a foreigner appears, they suddenly reunite. All of a sudden. They suddenly reunite all of a sudden. Great phrasing, Manasong. That is my magnus opus. He has only to worry that these lesser powers may get too much force. I'm already forgetting to use my softer tone again. He has only to worry that these lesser powers may get too much force and too much authority, and with his forces and their support, he can easily put down those who are powerful, so as to remain arbiter of that province in everything. Hold up, I need to reread this one, I got distracted. He has only to worry that these lesser powers may get too much force, too much authority, and with these forces and their support, he can easily put down those who are powerful, so as to remain arbiter of that province in everything. Okay, yes, when you give power to the minorities, you need to be careful not to give them too much power, because then they'll be able to actually become independent. They're supposed to be minorities because weaker. They have the power, but they need you to maintain that power. If they acquire too much power, as in to be able to become the ruler themselves, yeah, then you just created your own enemy. You just created your own rebel. So as to remain arbiter of the province in everything, yes. If you give too much power to the minority, he's gonna just rebel. And then he has the whole territory to his disposal, and he becomes the new prince. So that's basically that's the exact one thing you do not want to do. And whoever does not conduct this policy, well, will soon lose what he has acquired, and while he holds it, will have infinite difficulties and vexations within him. Yes, if he doesn't do exactly these things that Machiavelli is talking about, if he doesn't do war crimes and maintain this policy of war crimes, he will soon learn he will soon lose what he has acquired, and while he holds it, you have infinite difficulties and vexations. So it is effective, but it is a war crime. The Romans observed these policies well in the provinces they took. They sent out colonies, indulged the lesser powers without increasing their power, put down the powerful, and did not allow foreigners to gain reputation there. Oh, 1 minute until ads. 1 minute until ads. Where should I go? And I want... How much should I read now? And I want the province of Greece alone to suffice an example. The Achaeans and the Aetolians were indulged by the Romans. The king of the Macedonians was brought down, and Antiochus was chased out. Nor did the marriages of the Achaeans or those of the Aetolians make the Romans permit them to increase any state of theirs. Nor did the persuasions of Philip ever induce them to be his friends without putting him down. Nor could the power of Antiochus make them consent to his holding any state in that province. He's reading! I can't do that! Brain too full of cute men. Oh, hello, Billy! Ads are about to start. Unfortunately, reading has to stop for now. But I hope you learn how to read, Billy. I hope you learn how to read. So you can read stories about cute men. Imagine that, Billy. Stories. Reading stories about cute men. Instead of just seeing and hearing, you can read stories and imagining some of them. Eepy. Too eepy to read, maybe? Or not eepy, epippy. 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 You're too epippy, as always. As always. I think this might be the best string for you to fall asleep to, but ads are starting now, so after 3 minutes we'll be right back. Sorry about that. See you. Bye. See you soon, guys. Go get yourself something to drink. Okay, we are back. Now we have last section of the stream. It's only going for 1 more hour. My throat's not doing that too bad. Not doing too bad this time compared to last stream. Not sure if there's a... I'm doing something actually different. Why did you change this? There we go. Just thinking in this 3 minutes of an break. This passage, now it makes sense because say you're a population. You're a peasant of population. And you have a new tyrannic conqueror making your life shit. Who do you ask for help? Who do you ask to help you, save you? It's always foreigners. It's always foreigners. There's nobody. You're already conquered. There's nobody else to help you, aside from unless you just lost a city, like in a war they just conquer a city, and now there's still your previous ruler who's still fighting or something like that, or made a peace or something like that. But still, you always have to someone from out. You always need to ask help from someone on the outside, from another person of power. So if you as a ruler, as a prince, you can keep the people who are being oppressed by you from asking for help, you can actually have a lot more control. Like saying on a colony, keep them focused inward instead of thinking that the foreigners are actually gonna make things better. Also, I think I need a second sock. It's getting a bit chilly over here. My cute little feet are getting cold. Hold up 1 second. I got myself some fluffy socks. I love these socks. Because they're always sitting, and because of diabetes, my feet have a little more colder than usual. So it's nice to have nice socks. Nice to have good socks. Anyway, yeah. Now I actually understand the meaning of this passage, because if you need to help, who do you wanna ask? Foreigners. If you wanna stop. And your colonies from asking for help from foreigners, you just keep them focused inwards and thinking that the foreigners are all gonna be worse. And they will be. They're not likely. Colonizing powers are not gonna be any better, honestly, really. Or at least most of the time. They're not gonna be any better than the ones that already exist. It's all a shit pile, and you just gotta choose between the one that's less shit. There's not much difference between them most of the time, really. No. This part was just talking about history. History that I do not know. I'm not that much of a history buff myself to know about these names. Most of the names. Etolians, Achaeans, Philip. Well, I heard about a few Philips, but I don't really remember exactly who's Philip he might likely be talking about, or what he did. I think we're here. Now could the power of Antiochus dictate consent to his holdings and his state in the province. For the Romans did in these cases what all wise princes should do. They not only have to have regard for present troubles, but also for future ones. And they have to avoid these without their industry, because when one foresees from afar, one can easily find a remedy for them. But when you wait until they come close to you, the medicine is not in time because the disease has become incurable. Okay. Romans did in this case what all wise priests should do. They not only have to have regard for present troubles, but also for future. Yeah, pretty obvious. Keep an eye out for what's happening, but also for what's brewing. For the storm that's brewing afar, that's brewing on the horizon. And they have to avoid this without their power or industries. I guess the industry will be effort, will be similar to effort, and in a more modern phrase will be without their power, because when one foresees from afar, one can easily find a remedy or solution for them. But when you wait until they come close to you, the solution is not in time because the disease has become incurable. Pretty self-explanatory. And it happens with us as the physicians say of consumption, that in the beginning of the illness it is easy to cure and difficult to recognize, but in the progress of time, when it has not been recognized and treated in the beginning, it becomes easy to recognize and difficult to cure. Sorry, I could not hold back this yawn. It becomes difficult. Wait, where was I? It becomes easy to recognize and difficult to cure. Cure. English, please.
Cure.
Here. Easy to... Yes. At the beginning, illness is easy to cure, hard to recognize. When it's too late, it's easy to recognize and hard to cure. So it happens in affairs of state, because when one recognizes from afar the evils that arise in a state which is not given, but to one who is prudent, they are soon healed. But when they are left to grow because they were not recognized, to the point that everyone recognizes, there is no longer any remedy for them. It's just repeating. I guess it's just repeating the previous paragraph in putting other words. Yeah, but when the problem is left to grow because it was not recognized, to the point that everyone now recognizes the trouble, then it's too late and there is no cure for that. Just the repetition of what they are saying in other words. Thus, the Romans, seeing conveniences from afar, always found remedies for them and never allowed them to continue so as to escape a war. Because they knew that war may not be avoided, but is deferred to the advantage of others. Wait, what? As the Romans, inconveniences from afar, always found remedies for them and never allowed them to continue so as to escape a war, because they knew the war may not be avoided, but is deferred to the advantage of others. So they decided to make war with Philip and Antiochus in Greece, in order to not have to do so in Italy. This passage is eluding my mind. What are you talking about? Oh, okay. They always found the Romans always found solutions for their problems and never allowed them to continue, because they wanted to avoid war. The Romans never allowed the problems to continue to exist because they wanted to allow the war. The Romans went to war now to avoid war later. Yes, because they knew war may not be avoided, but is deferred to the advantage of others. Yes, a war may not be avoided, you cannot escape going to war, and if you delay that war, it is actually advantageous to other people. So instead of giving people the advantage of war, just go to war right now. Finish the problem, nip the problem at the bud. Don't be afraid to go to war. Give war a chance. Okay, I think I need to Make a highlight of this. Always found running. Let me copy this passage. In notes. Yes. This one is actually important. It's like the same in the same vein of that old saying of fortune favors the bold. So go to war now. Be bold. Oh, actually, highlight this. There you go. Now, moving on. So they decided to make war with Philip and Antiochus in Greece in order to not have to do so in Italy. Yes, make war now in Greece to avoid war later. In Italy, I guess because they will be pushed back to Italy or something like that. And they could have avoided both one and the other for a time, but they did not want to. Nor did that saying ever please them, which is very... I have not been able to hold back many yawns this stream. And they could have avoided both one and the other for a time, but they did not want to. Nor did that saying ever please them, which is every day in the mouth of the wise men of our time, to enjoy the benefit of time, but rather they enjoy the benefit of their virtue and prudence. For time sweeps everything before it, and it can bring with it good as well as evil, and evil as well as good. It's just a purple being fancy. He's just being fancy. He's saying that the saying is that they enjoy the benefit of time, to be patient, to be slow, to be cautious, to be prudent, but being effective and being efficient and proactive is actually better. Instead, in this case, being proactive and my blank, yes. To not enjoy the benefit of time is actually a better choice. That's it. For time sweeps everything before it and can bring with it as good as well as evil and sweet as well. Yeah, that one is kind of meaningless passage. Well, let us return to France and examine whether he has done any of the things he has spoken of. Soft voice again, I'm already forgetting. I will speak of Louis and not of Charles, as the steps of the former, because he held his possession in Italy longer, may be seen better. And you... Actually, let me lower the volume just a tiny little bit. Well, I was returned to France and examining whether he has done any of the things spoken of. I will speak of Louis and not of Charles, as the step of the former, because he held his possession in Italy longer, may be seen better. And you see that could not hold another yawn. Sorry, not sorry. We had almost 5 yawns. No, we're about 5 yawns on the stream. I will speak of Louis and not of Charles, as the steps of the former, because he held his possession in Italy longer, may be seen better. And he will see that he did the contrary of the things that should be done to hold a state in a disparate province. King Louis was brought into Italy by the ambition of the Venetians, who wanted to gain half the state of Lombardy for themselves by his coming. I do not want to blame the course adopted by the king, or since he wanted to begin by gaining a foothold in Italy, and having no friends in this province, indeed, having all doors closed to him because of the conduct of King Charles, he was forced to take whatever friendships he could get. And having firmly adopted this course, he would have succeeded if in managing. And having firmly adopted this course, he had succeeded if in managing other things he had not made some error. Thus, when he had acquired Lombardy, the king regained quickly the reputation that Charles had taken from him. Genoa yielded, and Florentines became his friends. The Marquis of Mantua, Duke of Ferrara, and blah 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 blah. Names. Everyone came to meet him, so as to become his friend. And then the Venetians should consider the temerity of the course they had adopted. To acquire 2 lands in Lombardy, they made the king lord of 2/3 of Italy. Okay. There's a lot of history over here. I don't know enough about this history to make a comment, but I think this final paragraph is very telling of everything that's going on. The Venetians and then the Venetians. What's temerity actually? I've heard this word before, kind of forgot what it means. A rash or reckless act, unreasonable or foolhardy, contempt of danger or opposition. Yes, the Venetians should consider the foolishness of the recklessness of the course they had, of the plan they had taken. Because the Venetians wanted to acquire 2 lands in Lombardy, they made a deal with King. What was that? What's his name? King Charles or King Louis? Yes, King Louis. The Venetians made a deal with King Louis, and who took 2/3 of Italy in exchange for 2 pieces of land in Lombardy. That's a bad deal. Yeah, well, Bankan, I hope you have a happy larking. Thank you for the luck, Bankan. Yes, this is the essence of what happened in the story. Not in history. Oh, let me actually copy this one. This one is also another important passage. And then the Venetians consider the foolishness of what they did. In exchange of 2 lands in Lombardy, they gave a king 2/3 of Italy. And I think there's like I think they're being kind of, what do you call, patriotic over here, nationalistic over here, because Machiavelli is an Italian himself, so he's like, you fucking betray the rest of Italy just for 2 territories, you dicks. Now moving on, one may now consider with how little difficulty the king could have maintained his reputation in Italy if he had observed the rules written above, and had held secure and defended all those friends of his who, because they were a great number, weak and fearful, some of the church, some of the Venetians, were always under a necessity to stay with him, and by their means he could always have secured himself easily against whoever remained great among us. But no sooner was he in Milan than he did the contrary by giving aid to Pope Alexander, so that the Pope might seize Romania. Nor did he notice that with his decision he was weakening himself, stripping himself of his friends and those who had jumped into his lap, while making the church great by adding so much temporal greatness to the spiritual one that gives it so much authority. And having made the first error, he was compelled to continue, so that to put an end to the ambition of Alexander, and to preventing his becoming Lord of Tuscany. He was compelled to come into Italy. It was not enough for him to have made the church great and to have stripped himself of his friends, but because he wanted the kingdom of Naples, he divided it with the king of Spain. Whereas as far as he was the arbiter of Italy, he brought in a companion, so that the ambitious ones in that province and those malcontent with him had somewhere to turn. And whereas he could have left in that kingdom a king who was his pensioner, he threw him out so as to bring in one who could expel him. Okay, there's a lot of things going on. Yes, now, starting on, he's just shitting on the king, saying that King Louis invaded Italy, took 2/3 of Italy with the help of the Venetians. He could have maintained his reputation in Italy if he had observed what if he had done what Machiavelli had said previously. and how secure in the faith that all those friends of his. Oh, because they were a great number, weak and fearful. Some of the shirts, some of the Venetians were always under necessity to stay with him. I think he did the contrary of divide and conquer. He did the exact opposite of divide and conquer. He seems to have given aid to the Pope, which was already a powerful thing, making the Pope more powerful. And not only did he lose the friends that he had, yeah, he also made something that was powerful, already more powerful, giving him more authority. Well, he should be also this part over here. Great number, weak and fearful. Some of the shirts, some of the Venetians. Yeah, he seems to have not defended his friends. Oh, because they were a great number, weak and fearful. I don't actually understand. Oh, because they were a great number, weak and fearful. I don't actually understand what these friends were. But yeah, he abandoned his friends, made someone powerful more powerful. And then he was compelled to continue. But to put an end to ambition of Sandra and preventing his becoming Lord of Tuscany, he was compelled to come into Italy. So he returned to Italy. But he wanted the kingdom of Naples. He divided with the king of Spain. What's Naples? Kingdom of Naples. Kingdom of Naples. Also known as Kingdom of Sicily. Yeah, so instead of solidifying his grasp further on Italy, he left and attacked Naples next. He divided it with Kingdom of Spain. So yes, he invited a foreigner into the territory he wanted to conquer. So everything, he did exactly the opposite of everything that Machiavelli was talking about one should do to keep stability and keep a hold of his territory. Yes. So when the population was unsatisfied with what was his name again? King Louis, they could just go to the King of Spain and talk, hey, that dude is bad, please help us. Please conquer us from him and unify us again. And whereas he could have left in that kingdom a king who was his pensioner, he threw me out so as to bring in one who could expel them. Instead of keeping a king who would be indebted to him, he just brought in an enemy, or he just brought in one who could actually fight against him. And truly it is that, like the King of Spain, he brought in the King of Spain into Sicily. And truly it is a very natural and ordinary thing to desire to acquire. And always, when men do it who can, they will be praised or not blamed. But when they cannot, and wish to do it anyway, he lie the terror and the blame. Thus, if France could have attacked Naples with his own forces, he should have done so. If he could not, he should have not divided Naples. If the division of Lombardy he made with the Venetians deserves excuse because with it France gained a foothold in Italy, thus other one deserves blame because it was not excused by that necessity. Oh yes, now he's explaining the previous paragraph. And truly it is very natural and an ordinary thing to desire to acquire. And always, when men do it who can, they will be praised or not blamed. I've no goddamn clue what he's talking about over here. But when they cannot, and wish to do it anyway, you lie the error and the blame. Thus, if France could have attacked Naples with his own forces, he should have done so. If he could not, he should have not divided Naples. Yeah, if he can't conquer it by himself, what he did was conquer. He did manage to conquer Naples, but he made a very unstable situation that just causes. What's the loss of profit? What's the antonym of profit? Let me actually use Google. Loss. Yes, he just lost. Instead of gaining resources and gain of profiting from conquering Naples, he just ended up creating more loss for him because the way he conquered was extremely unstable. So he shouldn't even have tried to conquer it. And if the division of Lombardy he made with the Venetians deserves excuse, because we did France gain a foothold in it. Yes. Italy has a very different culture than with France, so invading it would be hard anyway. But they managed to get a foot inside the door because of the Venetians betrayed the rest of the Italians. So now he has a foothold in Italy, which he can use to actually slowly conquer the rest of it. But Naples was unnecessary. He did not exactly need to do that thing with Naples. He could have just bide his time. He could have just bide his time. Is that the right way? No, it feels like it's the wrong conjugation. He could have just waited for a more opportune situation, for a more for the investment of the rest of Italy that he had just conquered. He should have waited for it to actually become more stable, so he could profit from me and then use that to create another army to invade Naples. I guess this is what this is my interpretation of what's going on. What Machiavelli wants to say. So then Louis had made these 5 eras. He had eliminated the lesser powers, increased the power of a power in Italy, brought in a very powerful foreigner, did not come to live there, did not put colonies there. Yet if he had lived, these eras could not have hurt him. If he had lived, these errors could not have hurt him if he had not made the 6th, depriving the Venetians of their state, or if he had made not the church great or brought Spain into Italy. It would indeed have been reasonable and necessary to put down the Venetians. Though when he had adopted these courses first, he would never have consented to their ruin. For while they were powerful, they would always have kept others away from a campaign in Lombardy. Whether it was because the Venetians would not have consented to them unless they themselves were to become its lords, or because the others would not have wanted to take Lombardy from France in order to give it to the Venetians. And they would not have had the spirit to go and attack both of them. And if someone should say King Louis ceded Romania to Alexander and the kingdom to Spain to avoid a war, I reply with the reasons given above, that a disorder should never be allowed to continue so as to avoid a war, because that is not to avoid it, but to defer it to your disadvantage. And if some other should cite the faith that the king had pledged the Pope to undertake that enterprise for him, in return for dissolving his marriage and for the hat of ruin, I reply with what I will say below on the fate of princes and how it should be observed. Thus, King Louis lost Lombardy for not having observed any of the conditions observed by others who have taken provinces and wish to hold them, nor is this any miracle, but very ordinary and reasonable. And I spoke of this matter at Nantes with Rouen, when Valentino foresaw Sigari Borgia, son of Pope Alexander was called by the people, was occupying Romagna. For when the Cardinal of Rouen said to me that the Italians do not understand war, I replied to him that the French do not understand the state, because if they understood, they would not have let the church become to such greatness. And it may be seen from experience that the greatness in Italy of the church and of Spain has been caused by France, and France's ruin caused by them. From thus one From thus, one may draw a general rule that rarely fails. Whoever is the cause of someone's becoming powerful is ruined, for that power has been caused by him either with industry or with force, and both the one and the other of these two are suspect to whoever has become powerful. Okay, this is a lot more story now. That is a long paragraph. He made five errors. Eliminated the lesser power, so he could not play the powers against each other. Could not divide the territory he had conquered because everyone was all the little powerful ones were irrelevant. There was just one powerful group who was against him. He increased the power of a power, and in Italy, yes, he made the church more powerful by bending to the church. And doing such thing brought no real advantage for him, really. Brought in a very powerful foreigner, and did not come to live there, and did not put colonies there. I guess these things did not put colonies there. I guess these things are self-explanatory. I've already gone on tangents about each of these things individually. Now this part, depriving the Venetians of their state. This is something that I don't exactly understand because I don't know enough about history. Since Machiavelli is referring a lot to history to explain things, but I don't exactly know much about this part of history, so it just goes over my head. And even the tangents that I can go on aren't very interesting, really. When he had adopted these curses had not made the church great to Spain and Italy, it would indeed have been reasonably necessary to put down the Venetians. Okay, yeah, the Venetians invited him because they wanted a piece of Lombardy. But after a while, since King Louis was powerful, he could eventually go against the Venetians themselves. And destroy them too, and get Lombardy for himself too. But he did not get a lot of stability in his own territory. So he ended up losing the rest of Italy he had conquered. And starting to get a little bit tired. Just 20 more minutes. My brain started to slow down a bit, I would say. It's good to keep this session short because they can be a bit intense, honestly. On me, at least. Whether it was because the Venetians would not have consented to them unless they themselves were to become its lord, or because the others would not have wanted to take Lombardy from France in order to give it to the Venetians, and they would not have had the spirit to go on and attack both of them. And if someone should say, King Louis ceded Romania, what do I? Another yawn. Sorry, not sorry. Thus, King Louis lost Lombardy for not having observed any conditions observed by others who have taken previous in which to hold it. Okay. Yeah, now this one also goes over my head because he's talking about the Cardinal of Rouen. Spoke this matter at Nantes with... Yeah, there's a letter. Yeah, he's just talking about something he did. It's not really important, honestly, I'd say. The French do not understand the state because if they understood, they would not have let the church come to such greatness. Yeah, from what little I know about these times, the church was like a big player over there. The church was always a big player, causing a lot of disruption. And if only the kings were less pious themselves, they could have been more independent. Also, maybe could have more success in ruling their own countries. Whoever is the cause of someone's becoming powerful is ruined. For that power has been caused by him either with industry or with force, and both one or the other of these two are suspect to whoever has become powerful. Okay, I think it's important, but I need a little bit time to actually understand what's going on in this. Oh, can you? God damn it! I need to select this. Okay, there we go. Now highlight, select and copy so I can add. Yes, it kind of makes sense. I just need to decipher this one a little bit. If you're the cause of someone becoming powerful, you're going to get fucking yes. Because the power has been caused by him either with industry or with force, and both the one and the other of these two are suspect to whoever has become powerful. Are suspect to whoever has become powerful. I don't exactly understand this passage, but it kind of makes sense in my mind that you should not make someone powerful. But I can't exactly translate decipher what's the deeper meaning of this, the exact meaning of this passage. So, if you're an advisor to the king, let's say, and that king is fuck, then the advisor is doomed as well. I think that is what it means. Huh. But that power has been caused by him either with industry or force, and both the one and the other of these two are suspect to whoever has become more powerful. Yeah, our suspect to whoever has become powerful is the thing that's not processing inside my mind, or vice versa. Yeah, that makes sense. If you're advisor to the king, let's say, and that king's fucked, then the advisor doom as well. Yeah. But I'm trying to apply this in the context of a prince, and of the pope, and what happened over here, and what happened with King Louis. Gave power to the church. I'm trying to connect all these things up. It's just eluding me a little bit. Especially that last piece. I suspect to whoever has become powerful. I suspect. I guess dependent. I guess suspect. Suspect. Adjective as in doubt. No, not this type of suspect. Suspect. Person suspected, suspecting, suspect. Imagine one guilty to have doubt, to imagine something to be true or likely. To imagine to it is probable. It feels like an archaic use. Yeah, these archaic uses of words is kind of annoying. I think I'll just move on, honestly. These days, I copy a passage I don't understand into ChatGPT and make it explain. I should actually use ChatGPT. How easy it is to use. I've never actually used ChatGPT. Login, sign up. Sign up, I guess. Use the Google account. I should use ChatGPT more. There we go. My birthday, okay. How can I help you today? How can I actually ask something? Oh, message over here, okay. It's very easy to use. I'm using it to make Nightbot commands right now, actually. Okay. How can I actually use this on ChatGPT? Should I use it? Explain. Explain this to me. This text appears to convey the idea that those who contribute to someone else's rise to power often face negative consequences. The reason behind that is explained in two ways. Industry. If someone becomes powerful through hard work, effort, and diligence, industry, the implication is that the person who helped them achieve this power might be ruined. This could be due to envy, rivalry, or fear of the newly powerful person. Force. Alternatively, if someone becomes powerful through force or coercion, the person responsible for enabling this rise to power is also at risk. This may be because the means used to achieve power through force could lead to resentment or retaliation, making the facilitator vulnerable to reprisals. In summary, the text suggests that regardless of whether the power is gained through hard work or force, the one who facilitates another ascent to power may face negative consequences. The suspicious and potential ruin arise from the methods employed to attain that power. Ah, yes, that makes sense. Yes, if you at the beginning, like on the introductions and things like that, I was talking about if you're a king and you rose to power through conquering, to bloodthirsty destruction and through a lot of blood spilling, the people who help you do that, the generals, the warriors, the officers and things like that, they still exist. So unless you have a lot of control of these people, they can become a liability, because you may, like say, mercenaries or barbarians. You hire some Vikings, you hire some barbarians to do your job, to conquer a place. But now they are the ones who have the power, they are the ones who have the tools, they are the ones who have the weapons. So you are now more vulnerable, because you use them to eliminate an enemy. So unless you have someone who's extremely loyal to you, these people who have risen to power may become liabilities. And the contrary is also true. If you are an officer of an army, or if you are a leader, a barbarian leader, and you have been hired, if you're hired to conquer a city for someone else, once you conquer the city, you can become a liability. You may be purge yourself so that the new ruler can actually take control of your men. So yes, it's a game of it's a game of constant backstabbing, because you can't trust anybody, not even yourself, not even your soldiers. Well, maybe you can maybe you can trust your soldiers, but they need to have a training and be loyal to you, not mercenaries. Mercenaries have too little loyalty. But yes, this passage is merely the inverse of what I was saying about the perspective of a person who has helped another gain power. Okay, so let's just move on then. 4. Why the kingdom of Darius, which Alexander seized, did not rebel from his successors after Alexander's death. The difficulties that are involved in holding a state newly acquired have been considered. One might marvel at how it happened that Alexander the Great became Lord of Asia in a few years, and just after he had seized it, died, from which it appears reasonable that all that state would rebel. Nonetheless, the successors of Alexander maintained it, and had no other difficulty in holding it than that which arose among themselves out of their own ambition. Machiavelli apparently refers to Alexander's happy occupation of Asia in 7 years, from 99 before Christ, and its division among 7 generals, eventually into 11 kingdoms after his death. He replied that principalities of which memory remains have been governed in 2 diverse models, either by one prince and now the other servants who has the other servants who as ministers help govern the kingdom by his favor and appointment, or by a prince and his barons who hold that rank not by favor of the Lord, but by antiquity of bloodline. which barons have their own state and subjects who recognize them as lords and hold them in natural affection. States that are governed by one prince and his servants hold their prince in greater authority because in all his province there is no one recognized as superior but himself, and if they obey someone else, they do so as a minister and official, and do not bear him any particular law. Okay, there's two parts. There's the Alexander part. Yes, the state of Alexander. He was a prince, you could say, in the book's terms, a prince who conquered, but died before he could actually do a lot to stabilize his own territory. But surprisingly, the people he conquered did not rebel, and instead his whole kingdom was partitioned by the 7 generals and eventually into 11 kingdoms after his death. I reply, now the other part is that principalities which memory remains, principalities with a memory of a bloodline, of a lineage, have been governed in two diverse modes, either by one prince, and now there are the servants who as ministers help govern the kingdom by his favor and appointment, or by a prince and his barons. And the barons have their own little bloodlines, so yes. Bloodlines is important for stability, I would say. Or at least as Machiavelli would say. So it's either one prince and ministers, or one prince and the other nobles with his own bloodlines. The bloodline of a noble and the other under nobles with their own bloodlines. Such barons have their own states and subjects who recognize them as lords, but hold them in natural affection. Yes, this part I think this is not a good thing. And recognize them as lords and hold them in natural affection. Considering how cynical Machiavelli is, I'll say he does not consider this to be a good thing. States that are governed by one prince and his servants hold their prince in greater authority because in all his province there is no one recognized as superior but himself. Yes, there is no one competing for the type of noble bloodline, of the title of leader, of ruler. Everyone is a minister, and ministers, they owe everything to the prince, while the one with the nobles, the one with the barons, they have the expectations of being independent, of being their own person, ruling their own territories. And if they obey someone else, they do so as a minister and official, and do not bear him any particular law. Yes, if there's only one prince, if there's only one noble, everyone is beholden to the noble. And even if there's governors and a hierarchy of power, the loyalty they swear to is specifically to the king, to the prince. While adding more nobles to the bloodline, you don't actually. The ministers of a baron, the servants of a baron, are loyal to the baron, not to the prince who's above them. So it's all a direct line. It's all like one single line of a relationship between each other, between servant and noble. And the lines of relationship between nobles is not very strong. So keep that hierarchy flat, and keep direct connections to your servants. I guess it's the advice he's giving you. And don't trust other nobles. In our times, the examples of these two diverse kinds of government are the Turk and the King of France. The whole monarchy of the Turk is governed by one lord, the others are his servants. Dividing his kingdoms in sanjaks, he sends different administrators to them, and he changes and varies them as he like. Varies them as he likes, but the King of France is placed in the midst of an ancient multitude of lords, acknowledged in that state by their subjects and loved by them. They have their privileges, and the king cannot take them away without danger to himself. Thus, whoever considers the one and the other of these states will find difficulty in acquiring the state of the Turk, but should it be conquered, great ease in holding it. So inversely, you find in some aspect more ease in seizing the state of France, but the greatest difficulty in holding it. This is This is an interesting passage where... It's actually a big one, but okay, I'll copy this one. Because this is an interesting passage. That I wanna go on a tangent about in a second. Actually, this is not a good highlight. I need the context of this highlight. I need the context of okay, I need this context. I need this little these two, but the King of France is based on... No, this one is more important. Okay. But yes, you need these two little pieces of context before. Let me just there's ads coming soon and also the end of the stream. So let's just finish this little tangent and then we'll look for someone to raid. Okay. As in 2 minutes. News. It's news. It's news. I kinda dislike that you only get 3 snoozes per stream. It's kind of annoying. Yes, my brain starts to get a bit heavy. You know, I think I may have been a slight headache or something like that. I may have been straining my eyes too much. I'm playing a lot of Plate Up. Preparing for the competition tomorrow. And it's kind of a fun game, so I actually am gonna even play a bit after the stream. But anyway, the last passage. 2 types of state. The one where it's governed by one lord, where everyone else is a servant. And the other type of state, where it's a multitude of an ancient multitude of lords. While the one who was governed by one lord will find it that it's hard to conquer but easy to control. While the other will be easy to conquer but hard to control. That's an interesting comparison, really. And it makes sense because there's like one weak link in a monarchy of the Turks. There's one weak link. That's the royal family. If the royal family is dead, everything's gone. The whole government of the Turks dies out. And even if you and after you conquer it, there's no lineage of rulers over there. They're just not gonna care if you conquer it. They may be loyal. They may have a lot of loyalty, but after you delete the royal family, there's no reason for them to resist anymore. So it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, really. While the Kingdom of the France, you kill one lord, now there's another lord who may actually go there and make a claim upon the territory because, yeah, I'm a French lord. You killed the previous lord, but I'm still another French lord, and I have a claim on your territory. So I'm gonna fight you. So my people are gonna revolt you. So my people are gonna look into more French lords. Unless you kill every single noble French lord that exists, there will always be someone else for the population to look into. So to save them, like they say, the grass is always greener on the other side. So while a French lord breeds, the population will have someone to turn to ask to save them from you conquering them. So it is easy to conquer because, like I said before, divide and conquer. It's easy to conquer a bunch of little armies one by one, then conquer one army all at the same time. One army united all at the same time, which is basically what the Turks do. With the Turks being governed by, with the Turks being so few lords, they can unite their whole territory quite easily. While the French and its own lords and its own independent lords will have their own little ideas about government and becoming high, and rising up in the ladder of nobility and things like that. Yeah, they may be more difficult to control and unite. But even if you do conquer them, there's always gonna be another lord, not gonna be another noble to make your life hell. This is an interesting perspective. I never thought of it like this before. I never thought of something like this before in my stories. It's all about perspective. It's not very deep, this sort of thing. Yeah, it's very simple, but it's good perspective. It's good insight, really. That's what it means by insight. It's a good view of how politicking and of how ruling works. I'm enjoying reading this book a lot, but that's pretty much it. We already reached 3 hours, so yes, my brain is starting to become a little bit heavy. My head starting to become a little heavy. Maybe some sort of headaches going on. I'm gonna start, and I have the competition tomorrow, and I also have RTS stream this Sunday. So I'm gonna stop over here. 4 hours is still too much for me. Maybe. Oh yes. Also, there's something about start time. I started this one at 7 p.m. on I think my schedule was wrong. I was supposed to start. Yeah, I think my schedule is 6 p.m. Yes, it's 6 p.m. I was supposed to start at 7 p.m. So I end at the usual time. I think next week I'll start 1 hour earlier. Like I'll start out the same time as my other streams at 6 p.m. I think it's just more practical to me to just do that like that, and having this extra hour just makes it more messier for me. It's better to end the stream earlier than to end it late like it is right now. It's like midnight. So I need it's always good to have more time for me to wind down and get sleepy. But yes. As in 1 minute and 50 seconds, I need to find someone to raid before that. Who can we raid? Let me see. Hazmat. Dojin. Keitaro. It's been a while since I raided Keitaro. Nuna is just starting. Haru. There's also Einstein. It's always difficult to decide who do I raid when it's this time, because everyone is online. Everyone is online. Koikawa. Oh yes, there's Koikawa. Oh, is he gonna spraying for 3 hours now? Fire Emblem. Let's raid Koikawa. I don't think I've ever raided him actually. I wasn't expecting him to stream at these times. He has been not streaming a lot, so oh. Koikawa, okay. Okay. Playing Fire Emblem Engage. Haven't seen much of his streams before. Kind of surprising he's now streaming on this time. But it's a nice little game, so it might be entertaining. Now, raid message. I kinda most of the time I forget about the raid message. And that's pretty much it. Take care of your waifus. Take care of your waifus. Take care of your husbandos. Grammar is going to start the milking now for you the spicier one. For you who have redeem little kisses and red pass from her. Later, Cody. I could not read your name because the screen is dark. Later on. Bye bye. See you guys tomorrow on like 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. or something like that. I don't remember. Bye bye.